Hey, it's Dorleen and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be working with these Mother's Day and Father's Day pictures from last year. I'm using the paper pack by Authentique and it's called Be Beautiful. There's absolutely no reason why I am using a bee themed paper, and so the whole time I'm putting this together I'm thinking in my mind, how am I going to incorporate these bees with these photos. So I grabbed one of these double-sided papers. They're absolutely beautiful. And I decided to cut down a 1/2 inch on two sides, which makes it an 11.5 by an 11.5 piece of paper. So I folded it in half diagonally. I'm using my bone folder to crease it, and I'm just going to use a pair of scissors to cut it. I have some paper trimmers, but none of them are long enough to cut this size paper diagonally. Now I know I could have used a ruler and a craft knife, and I have done that in the past, but this just seemed like the easiest way, and also because I know I'm going to be covering a lot of that middle section, so I don't care what the seams look like. I'm using this orange paper, just solid orange cardstock, to be the base of this, and it's just to add more of a pop of color, because you can tell from that gray and yellow, it's very subtle colors, so I felt like it needed pop of colors. Now I have, let's see, I think I have three 3x4s, two random little ones, and one 4x6 photos, and I really wanted to fit them all on this layout, but I just couldn't figure it all out. So one of the pictures was just my husband and my daughter. I did not include that because I had another one with both, well, I shouldn't say both, all three of my husband, my daughter, and my granddaughter. So anyhow, I do fiddle with the placement of the photos. It actually changes on the final layout, but this is kind of what I'm thinking right now. So I go through the paper pack again because what I want to do is I want to emulate the look of layered papers. So I cut this bee paper 3 inches by 10, and then I cut it in half. So it's 1.5 by 10-inch strips. I put one on the top of that solid white, which is a basic 8.25 by 11 piece of cardstock. And you see how I do that, and I'll use my T ruler to make sure that they're straight, but instead of using a full 10 by 10 or 10 by whatever piece of paper, I'm able to just cut those strips and I get the same look. So I wanted to mat those as well. So I cut this one, I kind of just randomly eyeballed, it's about 4 inches, and then I cut it 4 by 10.5. So, and then again, I cut those in half into like 2 and whatever inch strips, which I do end up cutting them down even more because I made the mistake of adhering the white cardstock down first before tucking in those strips. So right now I'm just kind of playing with it. So they're not even, I'm not worried about it because I'm not adhering them yet, but I really do like the strips. So there's the orange solid, the two different pattern papers on the diagonal, and then there's the solid gray plus the bee paper. Now, along with this pack came one sheet that just had a whole bunch of cutouts, I guess, punch outs, more like punch outs, and they're just random shapes, and they have a pattern paper on the back, which is that orange, not orange, I'm sorry, yellow, bright yellow on the back, but there's all these like tabs and postcard looking things and really fun shapes. So I really wanted to use as many of those as possible. I did decide that I really liked that yellow because it's such a dark yellow, and a big contrast to the other yellow pieces of paper. Now I really like that Be Beautiful arrow, and I really tried to incorporate it, but like the more I was playing with it, I think I just really couldn't get into it because beautiful or be beautiful, whatever, really doesn't work with the theme of the photos. Now I just got this mat, the one that is right below all this layout, from a clearance sale at Joann's. It was 8 something, so like $9, and it's Cricut brand. And I wasn't gonna get it at first because I have other what are they called, self-cutting or self-repairing mats, whatever, larger and also smaller. So I was like, eh. But then I went back and I grabbed it because it was such a good deal, and I love it. It is so perfect. And you saw how I lined up the diagonal pieces just by looking at the marks, the measurement marks on the mat. So that's a huge help. Might help me make something or put something down actually straight. We'll see. If you know me, if you subscribe to my channel, you know, even when I try, I can't get anything straight. So I do like the placement. I ended up putting, adhering everything down. And again, I'm just kind of playing with those punch out cards because again, I really want to use those. I'm trying to build at least 3 clusters or 3 areas where I have something. That letter stickers also came with the pack. It's definitely a darker, more red orange than the orange cardstock that I use to mat this, but it works fine. And you'll see at the end the title, which I really love, for the layout. So you might be asking, how did I get those really fun small prints? I just go to my local Walgreens. I'm sure any photo processing place you can do it, but I create a collage on a 4x6 base. So if you put 2 photos, they're approximately 3x4. Now it's a little bit smaller because they do give you like a border, a white border. But if you add more photos, it adjusts and it can be, you know, like that one little square, one's a little bit rectangle. So it just really varies. So the more photos you put, I think the most you can put is either 5 or 6. I don't think I've ever done that many. Usually I do about 4 because at one point it gets too small, right? But I really love having these different size photos. I think it really makes the layouts a lot more fun. And not every picture needs to be a big, 4x6 or even a 3x4. So I think they turned out perfect. And one thing you might notice as well, of course, Mama's got the camera, so of course I take a picture of Dad on Father's Day, but nobody takes a picture of Mom on Mother's Day. But it's all good. It really is. I'm just glad I took a picture of my gifts, my flowers that my kiddos gave me. So that was enough for me to remember what I need to remember about Mother's Day. So just looking at the camera, or excuse me, at the filming, and you can see I'm still really playing with those clusters. I do decide to just do some banners, those fishtail banners, on that bottom left side, because it really does need something right there. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I feel like all of those shapes, the pre-cut shapes, were just too big and too much. So, little banners, always a great way to fill in a spot. And I'm just using scraps of that darker yellow pattern paper, the gray, and then later you'll see me use the B paper that I have over on the right side right now. That little ticket thing, I really tried to make it work. I like the wording on it, but I just couldn't. Now, when I did this, I thought, that's it. That's the ticket right there, right? So I ended up using just layering those 2 on top of each other, and then I build the title on that. So you'll see me do that in a minute. So I hope you like this video. Most of my scrapbooks are multi-photoed. I really liked sharing the photos because to me that's the most important part of scrapbooking, is showing the photos, having the memories. And then I try to use embellishments to, well, embellish the layout. So although I love looking at mixed media or layouts that people do that just have all this like incredible sewing and ink splatters and 3-dimensional products, they look amazing. But I also look at it and think, well, where's the photo? Because half the time it's one little photo tucked in the middle of a, field of flowers. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Everybody scrapbooks differently, and there's absolutely no wrong way. But like I said, I like to showcase my photos. I like to just put a little bit of journaling. Some involves a little bit more. Titles are my weak point, but don't you love that? It's great to be spoiled. I just think that's so funny. I don't even know where I came up with it, but anyhow, it worked. So I hope you like this layout. Again, if you do, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. I do at least 2 videos a week. One will always be scrapbooking. The second is whatever it is I'm creating in the command center. And sometimes that could be another scrapbook layout. Sometimes it's a card. It could be a Cricut project. And I also have a junk journal, so I like to do some, that's where I do my mixed media, where I just get messy with inks and things like that. That's the fun part. I really do like that. But anyhow, like I said, I hope you do like it. Just a little splatter there on that bottom right and that top left corners. And I believe that finishes all off. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy these final photos. And again, just hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, or give me a like signal. I'd appreciate that. Bye.